The 2023 holiday season is now over, which means the holiday break is also over. Friends! Hello! Welcome back to Amethyst Craftworks. I'm Samantha, and Happy New Year to you! As of recording this, it is now 2024. I hope you guys had a lovely holiday season. I hope you celebrated and had a good time and were safe and all that good stuff. I did. I took a little time away from YouTube for a week and a half or so, just to enjoy the holiday, give myself some time to kind of relax, regather myself here, and reinvigorate my desire to YouTube. Because I've talked about this so frequently, but my motivation for things and the desire to actually do them don't always cross paths, right? I'm sure you understand exactly what I mean. So recording videos is a desire, but getting the motivation and the desire to actually do it, two different things. But we are here now. We are here now in 2024 in a brand new year. And today is the first episode of 2024 version of What Have You Done? So, I feel like that gets more dramatic, longer every time I do that. But these episodes of What Have You Done are my version of a crochet show and tell, where we go over things that I have made, completed all the way through, and we talk about the yarn and the pattern and the inspiration, all of that good stuff. And the very first thing that I want to talk to you about today is a simple project, for sure, but I made it with a purpose in mind. Now, as sad as it makes me, and trust, it's not like completely 100% going away, I am squirreling this off in like my stash of things to future Samantha to do something with. But my beloved Hocus Pocus calendar that has been here with me all 2023 long, that was a gift from Heather last year in our Christmas gift exchange. Sadly, it has run its course. 2023 is over, and so the calendar is as well. And I did not get myself a new calendar for 2024. Instead, I made myself something to hang up there. Now, this is very, very similar to the wall hanging that I made in a crafty experiment, a crochet vlog, one of those. I'll link you up here in case you're curious, except I used the granny stitch instead this time. I made it quite a bit longer. I've got 3 sets of color changes through here. And this was made with one of the Hirschner's Halloween Sparkle yarns in the color Witch's Blue, which was, I think, my favorite. It was tied with Beautiful, which I think was the black, white, gray, orange one. But I thought this would look super cute right here instead of my calendar, because I've got, I want to say, at least 3 or 4 cards, like greeting cards to hang up, but no more shelf space to hang them up. And so I thought doing this and then using some clips or, I don't know, safety pins, something like that, to hang them on here instead so they are in the background of my video like the other cards. I thought that was very fitting. So hold on. Let me do some set dressing here and change some things out. Okay, there we go. I think that looks flippin' adorable. It looked very weird to take my calendar down. Gosh, I love this calendar. I love so much of the art in here. It is just so flippin' cute. I feel like I need to frame a lot of these. The art of the sisters for sure. I'm not sure how big this is. Is it maybe, say, I don't think it does. Maybe it's 12 by 12, so I need to find kind of an odd shaped frame. But this is not going in the trash. This is, again, being squirreled away for future Samantha to do something with. And now. So, we do have at least one new thing to show you. I have been a bit busy with crochet. Not as busy as I would have liked. Not as productive as I would have liked, for sure. But I do have some odds and ends, some bits and bobs to show you. Like that. But also, some things that I finished actually quite a while ago that I never really addressed, showed off properly, talked about. So let's do that, okay? So, I wore this beanie in a specific video, and I did not address it not once, because it wasn't the subject of my video. But now, now that I realize I never did talk about it, I can. Because this was just like a free-handed beanie that I made specifically for him. If you are a gamer, if you're into horror games, if you're into indie horror games, or you have a kid that maybe is into indie horror games, you might recognize this little smiling toothed grin up there on my beanie, because this is Huggy Wuggy. Huggy Wuggy from Poppy Playtime. I love indie horror games. I love jump scare indie horror games. I love story-driven horror games. I could spend hours and hours and hours and hours, and I do spend hours and hours and hours watching people play them, because I myself, I'm too jumpy for that. But watching someone else play, chef's kiss. It is fabulous. And I think I have watched probably 4 or 5 YouTubers now play through Poppy Playtime. Markiplier, Jacksepticeye, CJU Games, Gab Smolders. Gosh, that's 4. I think that's probably all I've watched. But anyway, the point is, I made a little, it's supposed to be a cat ear beanie. But for cat ears, you sew, you know, like a line around your head right there, and then the ears look like cat ears. But I will put a picture up over here in case you're not familiar with Mr. Huggy Wuggy, because he doesn't really have cat ears. He just kind of has like a little triangle head of like pointy foof on the corners of his head. And so I decided I wanted to make a little free-handed Huggy Wuggy hat. So that's one thing. The next thing that was in the video that I wore this in were some fingerless gloves. Now, I showed off, I believe, this pair, which is Joanne Big Twist Value in Vampy Reds is the yarn. The pattern for my gloves here is from Alt Knots, so I will link you down below to anything. I mean, the wall hanging I kind of freehanded. This I did too. But things that have patterns I will link you to. So, Alt Knots, there, I found the thumb hole finally. Alt Knots tutorial will be down there. So I made these, I showed these off, talking about making gloves for my mental health. And it did, and why am I struggling so hard to find the thumb hole here? Here we go. Okay, anyway. So, they did help a lot in making me happy and bringing my spirits up and I made 3 pairs. I showed these off completed. I think I had one done of the jack-o'-lantern. I think that's what this yarn is called, also big twist value. I had one of these done, so I've got them both done now. And I hadn't started, or maybe I finished these and had one. It doesn't matter. I never showed you all 3. So this is the last pair. These are Witch's Potion, also from Big Twist Value from Joann's. And I adore these. I wear them around my house. It sadly has not really been cold enough in my neck of the woods, like outside, to warrant bundling up enough to wear gloves, fingerless gloves or not. As much as I dislike the cold and the snow and the wind and the ice, I'm also kind of concerned that the last couple of years specifically, I have made things to bundle up in and then haven't really needed them, which is odd because Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, we usually get some crazy weather, but regardless of that, regardless of all of that, I finished these. I've got 3 pairs. I haven't decided if I want to make a beanie to match each, or maybe one beanie with all 3 colors in it, you know, so I can wear one beanie with any of these. It's possible it could go either way. I haven't fully decided because I don't have a lot of these left, and using them up is not a bad idea, of course, but I don't know. I don't know. It, you know, it is what it is, right? So gloves, hat, those were the next things. And then hold on, let me grab something else to show ya. All right. So since, of course, Christmas, New Year's, the holiday, wintry holidays just passed, I did make a few gifts. I sadly don't have them to show you here, of course, but I have a version that I made for me that I can show you because I didn't go crazy this year making gifts. I made 2 gifts that each were 2 pieces, and I just let that be that because I did not want to run myself into the ground crocheting or, in this case, loom knitting things that I had like a really specific deadline for and not a lot of time to get done, and I didn't want to go crazy. I did not. I'm already crazy enough. I didn't need to make it, you know, even worse, okay? But I did make 3 pairs. I know you, oh man, you can't even see it. These are loom knit socks. Very tall loom knit socks. These specifically, one-stranded in black. This is We Heart Yarn from Hobby, whatever it is. I got this in a mystery bag last year. It is a 5-weight yarn, and the looms that I have, I don't even have one in here to show you. The looms that I have request or require like 5-weight, 6-weight yarn. So I made these for me. They are very tall. They're 20 inches, I think, from tip to top. I did do a folded brim, just like Fiber Spider's tutorial for hats that I have followed umpteen number of times at this point, which I will link you below too. I made these for me, and then I made Bestie Lauren and Bestie Pums a pair as well. For theirs, I held a couple of yarns, like triple stranded. For Bestie Lauren, I made pink, white, and like a pink sparkly yarn. And for Bestie Pums, I did purple, a purple sparkly yarn, and then a pink yarn. So they were much fancier, much prettier, much glitzier than my pair. But I love them. And I do have a funny story to tell you about these socks. So on Christmas Eve is when me and my family, we do dinner, we celebrate all together, and then everybody is free on Christmas Day to celebrate how they wish, which is lovely. And so there's kind of pandemonium on Christmas Eve. We do a Christmas grab bag, Secret Santa kind of thing, so you don't have to buy everyone presents. You know, you have one person that you give to, and it's lovely. And there are a couple of kiddos in my life now, and so Christmas is sort of focused on them. And so everybody kind of got them stuff, and they were opening like mad women, let me tell you. And so I handed gifts off to the besties, and then I sort of got wrapped up in opening presents with my nieces and, you know, watching everybody else open presents and opening gifts that were given to me, of course, too. And then I look up and I see Bestie Lauren and Bestie Pums have opened my gifts, and they're walking around with their socks on their hands, going like this and like, you know, waving around, and I'm watching them, and I'm like, do they think these are mittens? Gloves without the thumb holes? And so I like yell across the living room, like, those are socks! And they both kind of looked at me like, meh? Oh, they're socks! You numpties, why would I make you mittens without the thumb holes or gloves without the finger definition? Oh my goodness. But that's something I finished. Stupid story aside, I love these. These are tall enough to fit inside my boots and kind of come up, kind of like boot covers, really, or like leg warmers or something. They're fabulous, and they are thin enough that I can wear them inside shoes, not feel constricted or like too hot. Fantastic. I love these. So the last two things that I've got to show you, they have been a long time coming. I talked about these, I want to say it was maybe still summer, the very beginning of fall. I talked about how I had some plans for the macchiato cakes from Karen. The Karen macchiato cakes, there we go. I had two colors. I think I had two of the black and white, which was called Solitude, I think. The only reason I remember is because I'm pretty sure if it's Solitude, Solitude is a town, a village, a settlement in Skyrim. More video game, if you know, you know. But Solitude, and then the other color was called Bewitch, which I never even put together that Bewitched with the nose, Samantha, hello. It was like even more kismet with these yarns, right? And so I made two things. I still have yarn left over from both, so I still can make some other thing. But I made two things with those yarns. And the first one, very big. We've got Solitude, the gray, black, and white, and then Bewitch. And then more Bewitch. And then Solitude in Fringe. Oh, man. Okay. Let me take off my beanie and then let me model this for you. Hold on. I realize you can't really see it all that well while I'm wearing it, so forgive. But also, like, oh my god, my hair. I, like, cannot take this off now because my hair is ridiculous. But this is a wild oleander hooded scarf, hooded cowl. I made one of these as a donation to Wings over the last year in 2023. And I vowed to make one for myself, and I am so glad that I did it. Look at how beautiful. The stitches are beautiful. The yarn is gorgeous. The fringe, I kind of unapologetically love fringe, although I don't put it on a lot of things, but this needed some fringe. And it is so cute. And in this wool blend, I'm trying to fit it right. There we go. In this wool blend yarn, it is so snuggly. And the macchiato cakes themselves are so soft. And it is just luxurious to wear this. And I have to say, it has not been cold enough to warrant even wearing it just like, oh my goodness. The hair, it does what it wants. Anyway, it has not even been cold enough to like warrant just wearing it as like a cowl, as like a scarf. And, beyond needing a hood, it just hasn't been cold enough. So this sits and waits for a time in which I can wear it, but it is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I love things with hoods like this. It's why I loved all those snoods that I made last year that I also have not been able to wear because it hasn't been cold enough. I digress on that point. We don't need to keep going over it. But I love it. And I love the way these two yarns worked up and look together. I think they look fabulous. And the fringe in all these shades of gray, it is just so fun. And it is big. I am a big girl, and this is a big cowl, a big scarf. It is big enough to reach well past my belly button. If I stand up, the fringe reaches like the tops of my thighs even. This hood is so voluminous that if I had way more hair than I actually do, it would all fit in here. You could probably wear something substantial underneath this, like a big sweater, a big sweatshirt, a big coat, and then have this on and not be like bulked down. It's fantastic. I love it. And yeah, that was the next thing. I've got one more thing to show you. Hold on. Okay. We have given up on trying to tame the hair. It is kind of frizzed out from pulling and taking off and so on and so forth, so it's fine. But the very last thing that I've got to show you is something that I can also model for you here in my chair, because I made a poncho. Now, I think when I showed this off, I had started it but not finished it. And I have since finished it. The pattern is Fiber Spider. So again, I'll link you down below. Fiber Spider to the Wild Oleander pattern as well. Those will be linked below. It is in the same combination of Solitude and then Bewitch, Karen Macchiato cakes. And it has since been completed to the point where the bottom has a couple of rounds of the Solitude to match. The few rounds of, oh my goodness. Anyway, to match the few rounds of single crochet that I did up here for the collar. And it is glorious. Let me just, hold on. I gotta take my papers off so they don't get caught in the poncho. I bet I look crazy. I can't see, unfortunately. Let's put them back on. There we go. Okay. So, there. Now, we are in the poncho, and I love it. I love it so much. A poncho was absolutely one of my goals for 2023. I did it. I finished it in 2023. In fact, I finished this quite a while ago. And just never showed it because life and everything else, you know the drill. But my make goals for 2023 were a poncho and a sweater, both of which I have made. I am very proud of how this turned out. It is so soft and just like snuggly, like you can really like snuggle yourself up underneath this. It is essentially, as all ponchos are really, a wearable blanket, and I am here for it. It does get quite cool in my house, quite cold in my house. I try to keep it warm-ish. Not even for me, because I can bundle up. I can wear my fingerless gloves and my ponchos and my shawls and my sweaters and cardigans and all of that. But you know who can't? Ralphie. Now, I did want to say he also sends his love and best wishes for 2024 to you, just like I do. But he's an old man now, right? He turned 15 at some point in 2023. Most of the time when I'm recording, he is zonked out, laying down, passed out, sound asleep. I'm surprised you don't ever hear him snoring in my videos. Maybe you can and I just don't notice it, but he is more often than not just sleeping. And so I feel bad waking him up and being like parading him around, I don't want to disturb him if he is already asleep, And so that's kind of mostly what he does now is lays with mother and then sleeps while mother does her stupid camera things, right? So I can wear these things and be quite comfortable and warm and snuggly even if the house is cool. Ralphie, I do have a sweater that I made for him, and he of course has other sweaters and things that I have bought for him. But his joints and I try to keep it as warm as I can stand it, as I can afford to keep it in here. So even though it does get quite chilly in my house, I still don't really have much use for these things. And that's okay. I make things for myself to make myself happy. To make myself happy and to work on the craft, right? It doesn't always have to have a specific purpose. I've got things in my closets that I can use if I want to, that I have made. And it is what it is. It is the joy of making things, right? It's not always the most practical. It just is what it is, right? And so, yeah, I think that's everything. I think that is everything that I wanted to show you. I do have one other thing to show you, but that gets its own video, right? If you catch my drift here, it might be a monthly thing that we do here on this channel and on Bella's channel and on Heather's channel, that it might make more sense to show you a finished object in its own separate video. You get me? If you know, you know. If you understand, you understand. Trust, I'm very proud and very excited to show that off to you in a future video. And with that, I will just let you go. I will see you in that future video. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for liking and subscribing and commenting and all that good stuff. You know how much it helps, and I appreciate it so very much. I hope you're having a lovely 2024 already. And until I catch you next time, take care. Goodbye.